get a look at who our athlete here is that's run the 751. That's Antoine Andrews, a senior from Texas Tech, who ran that on his home track January 16th, just last week. Andrews, an All-American. So that's going to be a tough time to match or exceed this weekend, I should say, but this is the track to do it. This straightaway here has been fast for as long as I can remember. Many fast times when you factor in the conditions at 5,000 feet here in Albuquerque and just a quality Mondo surface. So we'll see what these athletes can produce as they look to advance to the final coming up later this afternoon. So in the blocks we go. Johnson in 1, Marquez in 2, Lang in 3, Brown in 4, Duskin in 5, Keys in 6, Lyric is in 7, Sanderson in 8. And we're off and running. Good start from Lang from UCLA, but he's got competition to his outside. Brown, it looks like Brown. Looked like it was Ezra Brown of Georgia. So Ezra Brown with a nice mark, 7:72 to take the win. Really good second half of the race from him. As Otto Lang settles for second in 7:80. Parker Duskin third, 7:85, with Marquez of Grand Canyon in fourth position there. So, got to wait for these next two heats to know who exactly will be going on to the final. Have to feel good about that mark from Ezra Brown. That's 7:72. We'll set a high bar here for the rest of the competitors. So they'll clean up and align these hurdles and get set to go for heat number 2. Well, we have a moment here. Let's run through heat number 2. The competitors in this field. We have Jacob Kavanaugh in 1 of New Mexico. Casey Toe of Grand Canyon in 2. David Brown of Central Washington in 3. Bogdan Vidojevic of Arizona is in 4. Emmanuel Joseph, Grand Canyon in 5. Samaj Thompson, New Mexico in 6. Dylan Poteet of Grand Canyon in 7. And Cole Hageman of Grand Canyon will run lane 8. Okay, so just about to head to the blocks for heat number 2. 7:72, the time set in our first heat. Everybody just looking to advance at this point to the final coming up later this afternoon at about 1:15 local time. Heat 2 of 3 on the track. Top 8 times from these 19 competitors will advance to the final. Kavanaugh, Toe, Brown, Vidojevic, Joseph, Thompson, Poteet, Hageman. And we're off and running. In heat 2, here comes Joseph. It looks like that was Emmanuel Joseph taking heat number 2. 8:07 unofficially. 8:06. 8:04 for Emmanuel Joseph to take heat number 2 with Bedojevic of Arizona. 8:07 for second place. We get these finalized. I'll give you a look at the top 8 times as we head into our final heat coming up next. So they'll get the hurdles re-racked here as we get set for a final heat that will feature just 3 athletes. And those athletes on your screen are Cameron Rode of Arizona, Blake Kelton of Grand Canyon, and Luke Buddy of Cal. So far, the 8th and final qualifying time at this point through to the final, it was our winning time from this previous heat, Emmanuel Joseph, 8:04. So right now, Emmanuel Joseph from Grand Canyon, who just took that second heat, he currently has the final spot into the final with 1 heat to go. We had 7 gentlemen crack 8 seconds in our first heat. No one in our second heat, but Emmanuel Joseph holding on to that 8th and final spot into the final as we have 1 heat remaining here in the men's 60-meter hurdles prelims. And it looks like we're just going to have 2 athletes here, as Blake Kelton in lane 4 has been scratched from this event. So we will just have Cameron Rode of Arizona and Luke Buddy of Cal Berkeley in the third heat. You've got to run 8:04 or faster to qualify for this afternoon's final. Rode in 3 in the red of Arizona. Buddy in the gold of the Cal Golden Bears. He will run in 5. Off we go in heat number 3 as Buddy makes a move and pushes to the finish line. It's not going to be enough to qualify for this afternoon's final as Luke Buddy wins heat number 3. 8:52, the mark for him, with 8:75 for Cameron Rode to take second. So our finalists, we will go over our finalists when we return. We're going to step aside for just a moment as we get the track ready for the women's 60-meter hurdles. Stick with us here on FloTrack. No, it's all good. Okay. Yep. Welcome back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center as we get set for our second event of the morning here in Albuquerque. We're getting some practice runs for the women's 60-meter hurdle prelims, where 8 women will look to qualify to this afternoon's final. We have 38 athletes set to compete, split across multiple heats, and they will look to qualify via being one of the 8 fastest times through these heats. So no auto qualifiers, just have to be among the 8 fastest between all the heats. 8 will be cut down from 38 athletes. As these athletes get set, they've lowered the hurdles from the men's height, which we just had those men's competition. And now the women are getting their practice runs in, doing some strides, clearing some barriers, and they'll look to be among the top 8 when we return to competition momentarily. So we're going to step aside as we await the first heat of this women's 60-meter hurdles prelim. Stick with us and come back as we will continue with more momentarily from the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. Welcome back to Albuquerque. Inside the Albuquerque Convention Center, we're set to resume action here at the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. We have 5 heats of the women's 60-meter hurdles prelim on deck. Top 8 times between these 38 competitors will advance to this afternoon's final. We have Heat 1 behind their blocks, and in this heat, we will have Taylon Wise of Arizona in lane 1, Taylor Cox of Georgia in lane 2, Maddie Cooper of Georgia in 3, Tatiana Ahalu of St. Laurent Select is in 4, Yanya Djip Nyamek of UCLA is in 5, Celeste Polzanetti of UCLA is in 6. Chelsea Williams of Georgia is in 7. And Mary Testa of Cal Berkeley is in 8. It appears that Chelsea Williams of Georgia is a scratch in 7. So no lane 7 for this first heat. These athletes trying to be among the fastest 8 times between 5 heats to advance to this afternoon's final. Final today will take place at 1:25 p.m. local time. Wise, Cox, Cooper, Ahalu, Djip Nyamek, Polzanetti, and Testa, your 7 athletes in Heat 1. And away we go here. Good start from Cox of Georgia. She's going to get an athlete on her outside, a teammate, but it actually appeared to be Djip Nyamek who came on late to win Heat number 1, 8:11 unofficially. 8:07 is the official time for Yanla Djip Nyamek of UCLA. Taylor Cox is second, 8:11 with Maddie Cooper in third, 8:13. So very competitive opening heat, and Yanla Djip Nyamek will take the lead into the clubhouse after Heat 1. Again, just looking to qualify for the final. As we get set here for Heat 2. 5 heats in total. Top time in the country so far for Division I athletes, 7:99 by Emmy Scales of Kentucky, set earlier this month. So 8:07, a really nice mark from Yanla Djip Nyamek in Heat 1. Here's Heat 2. We'll introduce you to the competitors. In 1, we have Christina Vlahovic of Utah State. 2, we have Kelis Jules of SMU. 3, Nike Abiadun, Royal City AC. In 4, we have Halyan Powers, who's unattached. Sakura Ruffin will run in 5 from Cal Berkeley. Patrice Clark of New Mexico Highlands is in 6. Kristen Bright of Lamar is in 7. And Zoe Ziegler from Georgia is in lane 8. 8:07. The winning time in our first section. Heat 2 on the track. Ooh, good start here from Powers in the middle of the track. She's going to get a late charge and rally from Ziegler. We'll have to look at the line here. Ziegler had a strong finish. And it will be Zoe Ziegler with a lean 8:23 to get the win in Heat 2. 8:25 for Powers for second, as Patrice Clark settles for third, 8:35. At 8:23 will slot Ziegler in to the 6th position for qualifying purposes. So currently Powers, who was second there in that heat, 8:25, has the final qualifying mark through to the final, but we still have 3 heats to run here in this women's 60-meter hurdles prelim. We'll let these athletes kind of settle into their blocks before we announce who we have here in Heat 3. Looks like we will have some scratches, so maybe not the full complement of 8 athletes slated to run. We'll remind you that 8:25 is the time to beat to currently slot into the top 8, although that could change, but you have to at least be under 8:25 to secure a spot. So in lane 1 in this competition, Heat 3, we have Claire Peterson of Utah State. Lane 2, Kapiolani Coleman of UCLA. And it looks like lane 5 is our next competitor, Kieran Chachia of SMU. We have Yuka Uba of Cal Berkeley is in 7. And then out in lane 8, we have Nia Sanders of SMU. Just 5 athletes in Heat 3. Got to be under 8:25 to secure a spot, as we'll get resettled in the blocks. So starter stands them up before we can get underway in Heat 3. 8:07, the fastest time thus far through 2 heats. And the final spot to the final through those 2 heats is 8:25. Have to be under that, or have to match that, or be under to have any shot to make the final. Peterson, Coleman, Chachia, Ukawuba, and Sanders. Oh, now we're going to get a second gun here. We'll see if there was a false start, what exactly went down, as the starter goes to discuss this with the rest of the staff. We'll have a quick meeting. And we're going to pull a card and see what we got here. That appears to... So it's just going to be a warning. So we will rerun this, get settled into the blocks for hopefully the third and final time here. Peterson, Coleman, Chachia, Yukauba, and Sanders. Those are the athletes from lanes 1 through 8, with some scratches in between. Heat 3 is into the blocks, and hopefully we can get a clean start for this time. Good start from Peterson, and Chachia running well as well. Now Chachia takes control, but a late push from Yuka Uba. It's a nice competitive race with multiple lead changes, but it looks like it was Anara Yukauba 849 to win Heat 3. So we won't have any qualifiers to the final from Heat 3. But the consolation at least was a very competitive race as Kieran Chachia takes second 852 in Heat 3. So that 825, the bar is still there, and that is a spot currently being occupied by Holland Powers from Heat 2. She's the final qualifier as we head to our final two sections of the women's 60-meter hurdle preliminary. So athletes doing their final sprint outs here. And then we'll get a look at who's here and who's not in Heat 4. So lane 1 will be empty as Malia Ross has scratched this event. We have Leia Martinez in Colorado State Pueblo. She's in lane 2. Madison Fleming, UCLA, in 3. Adriana Shelby of New Mexico in 4. Fallon Gowans of California, is in 5. Livy Federle, Grand Canyon, is in 6. Renee Finke, SMU, in 7. Sarah Rivas of Stanford is in 8. And I'll remind you, 8:25, the time to qualify through to the final. Seven competitors in heat number 4. No lane 1. Up and away we go. As Fleming has a fantastic start from UCLA, and she's going to go unchallenged here in Heat 4. $8:51 for Madison Fleming, so she's outside of final qualification, but a strong race from the UCLA Bruin to win Heat number 4. Livy Federle was in second place there in that 4th heat. In heat number 5, the 5th and final heat, we will have in lane 2 Brantley Preston from SMU, Kyla Rusic of Colorado State Pueblo in 3, Rarika Campbell of New Mexico Highlands is in 4, Catherine Littlewood of Stanford is in 5, Victoria Alvarado, Fort Lewis, is in 6, Brentley Campbell's in 7 from San Diego State. So behind our blocks here, we go for Heat 5. We haven't had any qualifiers to the final since Heat 2. I know Holland Powers, who's currently holding the final spot from that Heat 2 at 8:25, is hoping we don't get any more here. But these athletes looking to run under 8:25. And away we go. Fifth heat. Strong run from Brentley Campbell, as she will take the fifth and final section. That's Brentley Campbell, your winner in Heat 5. So that concludes the women's prelims of the 60-meter hurdles. They'll clear the track of the barriers, and we'll get set to go for our next event, the unseated 60 meters. Coming your way next. Stay tuned, live on FloTrack. Welcome back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center, as we are in the midst of Day 2, the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. Next event on the track, we have the men's unseated 60-meter dash. Men's unseated 60-meter dash. So for these unseeded events, it's just straight finals, no preliminary here. But coming your way next, we'll have the invite sections. I should say coming your way after the men's unseeded races and the women's unseeded 60-meter races. We'll have prelims in the 60-meter invite sections for men and women. But first things first, let's introduce you to the field for this Heat 1 unseeded 60-meter dash. Lane 1, we have Jake Leonard of Fort Lewis. Lane 2, Liam Allen of Adams State. Ari Dubin from Arizona will run in 3. Javon Hampton of Cal will run in 4. Noah Lawson, Grand Canyon, is in 5. Jacoby Smith of Cal is in 6. Amin Toki of UCLA is in 7. And Dominic Batiste of Arizona is in lane 8. So 6:49, the top time in the country thus far in Division 1, as you get a look at the full straightaway that we'll be covering for these heats of the men's unseeded 60-meter dash. As athletes now called to the start line. Right, so we're down in the blocks. Looks like we have no lane 8 here. Batiste is a scratch. We saw him last night. Not running here in this 60 meters. Your field here, Leonard in 1, Allen in 2, Dubin in 3, Hampton in 4, Lawson in 5, Smith in 6, and Toki in 7. Away we go. Heat 1 of the unseeded 60. Strong start from Dubin, but a stronger finish from Toki. Amin Toki of UCLA appears to have taken that one with a great second half. 6:78 for him to win Heat 1 of the men's 60-meter unseated dash. Just 2 heats here. Toki, though, seems to be pleased with his effort there in that first heat. We'll get set to go for Heat 2. We have Toshin Agbede unattached in 1. Isaac Bates, CSU Pueblos in 2. Gabriel Ajebu of Stanford is in 3. Josh Myers of Cal in 4. Bogdan Vidojevic of Arizona is in 5. Ivan Cornelius, Godspeed in 6. Demetrio Pino, Fort Lewis in 7. Dejon Stanley, unattached, will run in lane 8. We have a few open lanes here. We'll be able to more accurately identify who we have in just a moment. Heat 2 set to go. Well, maybe not quite set to go. Preparing to be set to go for the men's 60-meter dash, the unseated events, our final heat of this event. Looks like we got Agbede, Bates, Ajebu, Myers, Cornelius, and Pino. That's your field. Heat 2. .678, fastest time run in the previous section by Amin Toki of UCLA. And we are away and running. Strong start by Myers, but he's going to get a challenge here to his outside. Looks like that was Cornelius. And it's going to be Ivan Cornelius, 694, with a late charge to take heat number 2 of the men's 60-meter dash. So that was the men's 60-meter dash for the unseated sections. We'll be right back with the women's version of this event right here on FloTrack. We welcome you back to Albuquerque at the Albuquerque Convention Center, the indoor facility here in downtown Albuquerque for the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. We're getting set for the women's heats of the 60-meter dash. These are the unseeded competitors. And in lane 1 for heat 1, we have Taylor Anyasi, San Diego State. Lane 2, Soraya Duresca of Stanford. Lane 3, Caitlin Johnson of Cal. Lane Let's see. It looks like maybe we have no lane 4. So we'll go to 5. Lane 5, Nia Moore of Utah State. Lane 6, Bella Witt of UCLA. Paige Porter is in lane 7 from Cal. Excuse me, no Bella Witt in 6, so it's going to be Paige Porter in 7 from Cal and Nairobi Smith of Cal in lane 8. Off we go. Heat 1. Oh, really tight to the finish. Smith may have rallied there out of lane 8. We'll have to wait for the final results. Yeah, it was Nairobi Smith, 7:58 by 1/100th of a second over her teammate Caitlin Johnson, 7:59. Just a tight competition all around. Soraya Dereska, 7:60 for third place in a solid Heat 1 in the women's 60-meter dash. Strong racing there from the Cal Bears as they go 1-2 in Heat 1. We'll have plenty more Cal Golden Bear representation in this race as well. We get set for Heat 2. We have Hannah Caius, in New Mexico in lane 1. Zakia Hill, Arizona, is in 2. Layla Lawson, New Mexico, 3. Lauren Fowler is in 4 from New Mexico. Tiffany Williams from Cal is in 5. Caitlin Williams from Cal in 6. Jasmine Franklin in SMU, 7. And Cleo Martin Evans, SMU, in lane 8. Like lane 1 is empty for this race, so no Hannah Caius. Otherwise, though, a full field: Hill, Lawson, Fowler, Williams, Franklin, and Martin Evans. Good start in the middle of the track from the pair of Cal Bears. Also a good run from Lawson, I think that was Fowler. We'll get a look at the results. It was Layla Lawson of New Mexico taking that heat. 7:64 for Lawson to win heat number 2. Tiffany Williams is in 2nd. .764 in Heat 2 was the winning time by Layla Lawson. Tiffany Williams, 7:69 for second, followed by Zakia Hill in 7:71. Caitlin Williams in 7:76. Cleo Martin Evans, 7:77. And Jasmine Franklin, 7:79. So really competitive race in Heat number 2 as we get you set for Heat 3. By introducing you to our field, we have Madison Nieto unattached in 2. Addison Leeds, Fort Lewis in 3. Sage Hinton, Stanford in 4. Janaea Mansell, Fort Lewis in 5. Dominique Armijo from Fort Lewis in 6. Kate Wardlaw is in 7 from Fort Lewis. So no leads in lane 3. That lane is empty. Just Nieto, Hinton, Mansell, Armijo, and Wardlaw. Your field here in Heat 3. Off we go. Even start. Looks like Hinton separating. She is, and she'll win comfortably. That's Sage Hinton from Stanford University. .790 unofficially. 787 the mark, with Janaea Mansell in second from Fort Lewis at 8 flat. So 797 your winning time there. Excuse me, 787 by Sage Hinton. All right, final heat of the unseeded 60-meter dash races is coming up next. All 3 competitors appear to be present, as we'll have Taylon Wise of Arizona in 3, Jalissa Daniels, New Mexico State in 4, and Jayla McDonald, New Mexico State in 5. Heat 4 of the women's 60-meter dash on unseeded. Wise, Daniels, McDonald from inside to out. And off we go. Strong start. Taylon Wise. She's in control. Not going to be enough ground for her to be challenged by McDonald, who came on late. Strong race there. 768, 766 officially for Taylon Wise of the University of Arizona. McDonald and then Daniels completes your final heat of the women's 60-meter unseeded events. So we'll come back with you to see prelims in the invitational sections of the 60-meter dash. Stick with us on FloTrack. We will be right back. Welcome back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center as we roll on in day 2 of the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. We've got prelims in the men's 60-meter invitational sections coming your way. 3 heats on deck here. Heat number 1 on the track. Top 8 qualifiers from these 3 heats will qualify to the final coming up later this afternoon at 2 p.m. local time. But first things first, we have Heat 1. In Lane 1, Jaden Finley of Georgia. Lane 2, and it looks like, let's see here, almost looks like possibly we're without Lane 1. So we'll go to Brady Buffington of Georgia in 2. Justin Raines of Grand Canyon in 3. Ayodele Oho of Utah State in 4. Travis Campbell, Guelph in 5. And we'll introduce you to the rest of the field at the conclusion of the race here. Oh, it's tight. Looks like Maurice Gleaton Jr. with a very strong run. Gleaton Jr., for some reason, not happy with that performance. He looks very upset by that run. For some reason, not happy, but it's just a prelim. He's got a very good opportunity to improve on that time in the final. Gleaton not pleased with that. If I had to maybe nitpick, I guess it could have been the start. He seems very upset with it, but a strong performance and something to build on going into the final. It was a very nice performance from Maurice Gleaton Jr. We'll look at the results there again on your screen. Gleaton, Oho, your top 2, followed by Buffington as we get you set for heat number 2 in just a moment. But just the top 8 times will advance to this afternoon's final. All right, so we look at our second section here, second heat. We have James Anabosi of Arizona in lane 1. Aguirre of Utah State is in 2. Paredes of Arizona in 3. Lane 4 is absent. Holguin of Grand Canyon's in 5. Let's see, who do we have here? No, looks like no lane 6. We will have Conan in 7 from Utah State. Matt Hall, also of Utah State, will be in lane 8. This is the prelims of the men's 60-meter dash invitational. We're absent Harding and Williams, who were slated to run in 4 and 6, respectively. And away we go. A little stumble out of Conan in 7. He's trying to rally there. I think he's going to leave himself too much room. It looked like it was Holguin from my vantage point. 6:73. Jacob Holguin from Grand Canyon takes heat number 2. Far off the pace of that 6:53 from our first heat. Maurice Gleaton Jr. Third and final heat coming your way right now. Haskins of Grand Canyon in 1. Steven Sabino of UCLA is in 2. Aiden Orias of Cal's in 3. Colton Magruder of Central Washington's in 4. Zachary Galmont, Fort Lewis, is in 5. Connor Kittleson of Grand Canyon's in 6. Nolan Crespo, AOS, is in 7, and Wazell Wright of Cal is in 8. So Heat 3 behind the blocks on this beautiful day across the country for indoor track and field. Can't get better conditions for indoor track than a giant nationwide snowstorm. Heat 3, we have Haskins, Sabino, Orias, Magruder, Galmont, Kittleson, Crespo, and Wright. All looking to advance to the final coming up later this afternoon in the men's 60-meter dash invitational. This is the prelim, Heat 3. Away we go. And Sabino had to pull up or else he would have probably won that section. So we'll hope that Steven Sabino, as he limps gingerly off, is okay. Connor Kittleson will win in his absence, heat number 3 in 6:86, and Sabino really seems to be favoring a leg there, and you hope he can get that healed up quickly. But you know, with those hamstrings, things can be very precarious, so he's going to get carried off by a coach. So hopefully he's okay, but luckily to have his coach there. But we are going to step aside momentarily, or for a moment I should say, while we get set to go for the women's heats of the 60-meter dash invitational section. Stick with us on FloTrack. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Albuquerque here at the Albuquerque Convention Center as we have our next event on the track. 3 heats of the women's 60-meter dash prelims. Top 8 times will qualify between these 24 competitors in these next 3 heats. In Heat 1, we have Ashley Barrett from New Mexico Highlands in 1. Knowledge Amova of Noli Track Club is in 2. Well, looks like she's absent, so no lane 2. We have Carter in 3, Jackson in 4, Redmond in 5, Phillips 6, Hollis 7, and Frederick 8. Strong competition here, and that's Kayla Jackson, the All-American, putting together a nice preliminary run. She won. Excuse me, my mistake, misidentified. It was Redmond there, 7-2-0. So two Georgia Bulldogs going head-to-head in that prelim. Three, in fact, top four finishers there, all from the University of Georgia, as Rain Redmond takes the victory in lane number 5, 7-2-0. Got a feeling we're going to see a lot of those Georgia Bulldogs back in the final coming up later this afternoon in the 2 o'clock hour. Redmond and Jackson going head-to-head. They'll look to do that again coming up in that final. Get you set for heat number 2 in the women's 60-meter dash invitational prelims. Holland Powers is in 1. McKenna Watson, no Watson in lane 2, but we will have Robinson in 3. Mbai of San Diego State's in 4. Lane 5 is a scratch. Jones of Stanford in 6. Small of Grand Canyon in 7. And Thevenin, Grand Canyon in 8. Powers in 1 is already qualified for the 60-meter hurdles final. So she's looking to double dip here to make both the short sprint events.
Sad.
7:53 the time to beat here. As Powers, well, she had a strong start. Not quite the finish she was looking for. It looked like Jones from Stanford came up strong. Alyssa Jones, 7:37. And Cassie Small right behind, 7:38. Also happy with her performance. Both are tentatively into the final at the moment with those performances, as is our 3rd and 4th, well, and our 5th place finishers there. So our top 5, or excuse me, that's going to change, of course, based on our first heat. So Mbai was 3rd there in 7:47. She currently has the final spot heading into our final heat at 7:47. So Powers just misses, at least as of now, with that 7:48. Top time, Rain Redmond, 7.20 from heat 1. She's basically assured of making the final here. But Mbai of San Diego State will have to watch with some nervous energy as she gets set to watch this 3rd heat, which will feature the following athletes. So we'll have Ashlyn Nielsen of Central Washington in 1. Lane 2 is empty. We'll have Kohana Ross of Utah State in 3. Lisa Ray of Georgia's in 4. Michaela War, San Diego State's in 5. Ava Kitchings of Georgia is in 6. Olivia Hicks is in 7 from San Diego State. And Lauren Gilhooly of Cal is in lane 8. 7:47 the time to beat to qualify for the final, or at least to have a shot to qualify for the final. Away we go, heat number 3. Ross getting challenged there from Ray, and it looks like it's going to be Lisa Ray of Georgia. Ooh, this time's going to be important to watch here. 7:46 unofficially. What is the final mark?
Heat 1 and Heat 2, the gas, please report to the track at this time. Heat 1, Heat 2.
Yeah, that'll get her to the final, Lisa Ray. Ross is just going to miss out with that 7:49, but Lisa Ray will join many of her teammates in the final. So that is the prelims of the 60-meter dash for both the men and the women. We are going to take a quick break. Be right back with you with some more action from the 2026 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Collegiate Invitational. Yes.
Set.